The black luxury SUV stopped in front of a house that should have been forgotten forever, yet it stood there like a ghost that refused to die. The paint was peeled, the windows were broken, and the front door hung slightly open, creaking in the cold wind. For a moment, the millionaire inside the car felt his chest tighten, as if the past had reached out and grabbed him by the throat. This was the house he had escaped from, the house he had sworn to erase from existence, and today he had returned to demolish it. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us how the past can still heal us, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them. His name was Matthew Collins, a self-made real estate tycoon known across the United States for turning broken neighborhoods into shining developments. He owned penthouses in New York, vacation homes in Florida, and a private jet that carried him wherever business demanded. Yet standing there in a quiet Midwestern town in Ohio, none of that mattered. All he could see was the small, broken house where his childhood had been shaped by hunger, fear, and loneliness. This was where his father had walked out one rainy night and never returned. This was where his mother had worked herself to exhaustion, only to lose the house to debt and illness. Matthew had been just 16 when he left, carrying nothing but anger and a promise to himself that he would never come back. The town had barely changed. The streets were still narrow, the trees still bare in winter, and the air carried the same heavy silence he remembered. Matthew stepped out of the car, his expensive shoes sinking slightly into the muddy ground. The demolition crew would arrive in an hour. Soon this place would be rubble, replaced by a modern apartment complex with his company's logo shining proudly on the entrance. That was the plan. Clean, profitable, and emotionally distant. Or so he thought. As he pushed the door open, the smell of dust and old wood rushed toward him. The floor creaked under his weight, and every step echoed like a memory refusing to stay quiet. The living room was smaller than he remembered, but the scars were the same. A cracked wall where his mother had once hung a faded cross. A corner where he used to sit, pretending to read while listening to her cry late at night. Matthew told himself he felt nothing, yet his hands were shaking. He walked through the house slowly, room by room, as if guided by something he couldn't explain. In what used to be his bedroom, he noticed a small light flickering. Confused, he followed it to the back of the house. That was when he heard a soft cough. His heart skipped. Someone was living here. Behind the broken kitchen door, he found an elderly man sitting on a thin mattress, wrapped in layers of worn blankets. His hair was white, his face deeply lined, and his eyes held a tired but gentle look. Beside him was a small wooden cross and a stack of old newspapers used for warmth. Matthew felt a wave of anger rise, mixed with fear and guilt. This was his property. This was supposed to be empty. The old man looked up slowly, not startled, as if he had been expecting this moment. His name, Matthew would later learn, was Arthur Reynolds, a retired factory worker who had lost his family years ago. The house had been abandoned for so long that Arthur had taken shelter there after being forced out of a local church basement due to lack of space. Winter had been cruel, and this house, broken as it was, had saved his life. Matthew stood frozen, his plans collapsing inside his mind. He had become rich by clearing old spaces, by removing what others no longer wanted. But now he was looking at a living, breathing reminder that his success stood on ground once filled with pain. The challenge he faced was no longer financial or legal. It was moral. Could he really destroy this place, knowing it was someone's last refuge? As Matthew looked around, he noticed something else. On the wall near the kitchen hung a small photograph, taped carefully despite the peeling paint. It was a picture of his mother, younger, smiling softly. His breath caught. Arthur explained through quiet gestures and written notes that he had found the photo in a drawer and kept it because it reminded him of kindness. Years ago, a woman matching her description had brought him food when he was struggling, long before he lost everything. Matthew felt his knees weaken. Even in her darkest days, his mother had helped others. The weight of that realization crushed him. He had spent his life running from this house, blaming it for his suffering, yet it was also the place where love had quietly lived. His struggle shifted from wanting to erase the past to understanding it. The walls he hated had once sheltered compassion. The roof he wanted to tear down had once protected hope. Matthew left the house and sat in his car, staring at the steering wheel as memories flooded his mind. He thought about all the times he had chosen profit over people, speed over empathy. For the first time in years he prayed, not for success, but for clarity. When the demolition crew arrived, Matthew surprised everyone by calling it off. The shocked looks didn't matter. Something inside him had changed. Over the next few weeks, Matthew made a decision that transformed not only the house, but his own heart. Instead of demolishing it, he ordered a full restoration. The house was rebuilt carefully, keeping its original structure while making it safe and warm. But it didn't stop there. Matthew turned the property into a small shelter for elderly homeless individuals, naming it Grace House in honor of his mother. Arthur was given a private room and proper care, his final years filled with dignity instead of fear. Word spread quickly through the town. People who once knew Matthew as the angry boy who left now saw a man who had returned with purpose. He funded local programs, partnered with churches, and personally visited Grace House every week. Each visit reminded him that success meant nothing if it wasn't shared. Near the end of one winter evening, Matthew stood in front of the restored house, watching lights glow warmly through the windows. He felt peace for the first time since childhood. The house he wanted to destroy had rebuilt him instead. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Stories like this remind us that kindness can change lives, even our own. Before the final ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below with the words "Grace still lives" if this story moved you, so others can find it and feel the same hope. Matthew Collins never demolished the house that once held his pain. Instead, he learned that sometimes what we try to destroy is the very thing God uses to heal us.